The stability that moves. Buddha's teaching on inner balance. I used to think stability meant keeping my life from changing. But the more tightly I held things in place, the less alive I felt. It took time to see that steadiness was never about standing still. Holding still. Yet beneath this careful holding, a quiet tension lived. Curiosity dimmed, energy thinned, life continued, but with less color. The Buddha noticed this long ago, the way the mind mistakes holding for wisdom and caution for clarity. When experience is grasped, even gently, the breath shortens and the heart narrows. Stability, pursued this way, asks constant effort, and effort, over time, becomes strain. The subtle cost. At first, the cost of holding still is hard to name. It shows up as vigilance, as watching life closely for signs of disruption, as tightening when plans shift or people change. Control begins to feel responsible, even necessary. The Buddha saw that what exhausts us is not uncertainty, it is resisting it. Life moves whether we allow it or not. When the mind braces against that movement, pressure builds quietly. You feel it in the body as restlessness, in the mind as rehearsal. Stability, when misunderstood, becomes something to defend. And anything that must be defended is already under threat. Balance in motion. What stands still cannot balance. The Buddha understood balance as movement, not stillness. Like riding a bicycle, steadiness appears only while adjusting. When this recognition touches experience, something softens. You begin to notice how life itself has always been teaching this lesson. Trees sway and remain rooted. Breath moves and sustains the body. Attention shifts without breaking awareness. The Buddha did not reject structure. He revealed its proper role. Structure exists to support movement, not replace it. Seeing this restores ease where effort once lived. Fear and change. In the Buddha's way of seeing, change was never the problem. Fear arose from misunderstanding change. When something moved, the mind interpreted motion as danger, as loss waiting to happen. As this was observed rather than argued with, fear loosened. You saw how change carried information, not threat. Attachment revealed itself precisely at the point of resistance. Growth stopped feeling like effort and began to feel like participation. This was not optimism, it was clarity, grounded in how experience actually unfolds. Effort relearned. The Buddha spoke of right effort as alignment, not force. You began to feel this directly. Effort no longer meant pushing forward or holding back, but adjusting wisely. In daily life, this showed up simply, responding instead of reacting, pausing instead of bracing, letting plans guide rather than command. Stability grew lighter, less muscular, more intelligent, like balance rediscovered mid-step. Letting others move. Clinging asks life to remain loyal to our expectations. The Buddha observed how attachment in relationships quietly creates suffering. When you held tightly to who others should be, their growth felt threatening. Change felt personal. As attachment softened, compassion expanded. You could allow others to move without losing connection. Listening deepened. Patience arose naturally. Relationship became a shared unfolding rather than a fixed agreement, grounded in trust rather than control. Discovering inner wealth. When the external ground proved unreliable, the Buddha pointed attention inward, not toward withdrawal, but toward understanding. If nothing outside could be guaranteed, perhaps security had never belonged there. You began to recognize a quieter wealth, resilience, the capacity to remain present during difficulty, to meet loss without losing yourself. This stability did not depend on circumstances aligning. It traveled with you because it was lived, not owned. Freedom from comparison. The Buddha saw how comparison turns life into a contest of images. As attention softened, comparison lost its grip. Praise and criticism no longer defined the center. Success and failure became experiences rather than identities. Simplicity replaced excess. Generosity felt natural. Letting go no longer felt risky. It felt relieving. Stability grew quieter, but more dependable. The weight of identity. What we call self is something happening, not something held. The Buddha noticed how identity hardens when it is defended. You began to feel the quiet strain of maintaining a fixed story about who you were supposed to be. As this process was seen clearly, it loosened. Performance gave way to honesty. Flexibility replaced defense. Growth no longer felt like betrayal. Stability shifted from maintaining an image to remaining present. Strength without armor. In the Buddha's insight, true strength required no armor. Without defending an image, you expected fragility. Instead, you found responsiveness. Pain could be felt without becoming a verdict. Uncertainty could coexist with confidence. Stability revealed itself as openness, able to be touched without collapsing. Beginning again. The Buddha pointed again and again to the simplicity of beginning. Not because something failed, but because life is always renewing itself. You noticed how arriving in the present required less effort than maintaining continuity. The moment asked nothing of the past. Stability appeared as willingness to meet what is here without burden. Capacity revealed. Steadiness is the ability to adapt without confusion. As the Buddha taught, when understanding deepens, fear diminishes. Stability revealed its true form, capacity. The capacity to learn, to care, to adjust, to begin again. You no longer needed life to cooperate in order to remain grounded. Groundedness came from knowing how to relate. Moving with life. The Buddha never promised stillness. He revealed a way of seeing that allowed peace within movement. Life continued to change, but movement no longer felt hostile. You adjusted naturally, like balance found mid-step. Stability became alive, responsive rather than rigid. Quiet freedom. In the Buddha's understanding, freedom was subtle, not dramatic or declared. It was felt as trust in timing, ease in uncertainty, and clarity in response. Impermanence no longer threatened. Attachment softened through understanding. Stability lived in participation, not control. The stability that moves. What moves freely does not lose its balance. The Buddha saw that nothing needed to be frozen for peace to appear. Stability was never found by resisting change, but by understanding it so completely that fear no longer followed. Nothing essential was lost by letting go. Control softened, and intelligence deepened. What remained was a quiet steadiness, the capacity to relate wisely, to adapt without confusion, to care without clinging. Life continued to move, and instead of falling, you moved with it. This is Buddha Reflections, where philosophy, insight, and lived experience meet to explore mind, impermanence, and release. Thanks for your time. It's been a delight. What should we explore next? Comment, share, and save your insight. Subscribe to Orbital Reads and keep your thoughts bright.